Hey, what's up? It's Corey back with you, and we are going to do a lick lesson today based all around Gary Moore. And it comes to us sort of by request, or it's a long distance dedication, if you will, to a Facebook group called Guitar Licks and Tricks. One of the administrators reached out and said, would you consider joining? There's about 100,000 people in there, always talking about guitar, gear, lessons, playing. They're just enthusiasts that are really, really avid about asking questions and communicating with everybody and creating this little cool community of guitar players. It's actually not little. It's over 100,000 members that are all pretty active. So this lesson is dedicated to them. It's dedicated to you guys in Guitar Licks and Tricks, but of course it's also for the folks that come and faithfully support my channel. So Gary Moore blew my mind when I first heard him, because I never heard anybody play blues like that with this ferocity, Les Paul, cranked Marshall. I was listening to all the classic players, as well as like Stevie Ray and Jimi Hendrix and all those people, and Gary Moore just blew my mind. And he could take sort of the stock blues licks, play them really fast with a lot of aggression, and just make for a really amazing passage of notes, you know, that would just kind of be a flurry that would go right past you and you go, what was that, right? So I got a track up that is mimicking when he covered Since I Met You Baby with B.B. King, and he's just shredding all over the place. And it's a blues in C, super up tempo, kind of a jump swing feel, and he's going to put in a fast lick. So let me play the lick for you just a few times over and over, and then we'll come back, talk about it, and then I'll even perform a little bit and dive in deeper, okay? So I'm going to jump in and play that lick a little bit more for you, but remember our chord changes under our 12-bar blues. We're going to play a C9 or a C7, any variety you like, F9, C7, C9, up to a G9, F9, C7 or C9. That's the gist of what's going on, especially these up-tempo swings. Ninth chords really seem to work well with them. And that lick, what I'm going to do is for the first 12 bars in the performance, I'll do it just like you saw me do it. And then what I'm going to do is improvise a little, play simply, and then release that lick, and it'll be super fiery and really turn your head, because everything else will be simple and a little more swinging. That's on the second time through the solo. Once I do that, we'll get into it and we'll teach the lick note by note. You'll have the tab, you'll have the track even to play with it on your own and have some fun. All right, let me jam a little bit more so you really get a sense of the lick we're going to work on, and then I'll break it down for you. Let's hear it. All right, that's some killer stuff. I know it's fast. We're going to break it down and have some fun with it. I'm going to teach you how to learn it and how to kind of get it up to speed to the best of your ability. And we're just going to take bits and pieces of it too to show you how we can use it in our own solos and get some of that Gary Moore flavor, for sure. Now, before we go any further, I know folks will ask about the rig. This is a 59 Murphy Lab Les Paul, light aged. Only sold about 4 guitars and an amp to get it, but it was well worth it. And then I'm just going into my 73 Marshall back there. There it is. And that is being tamed and able to be run direct through my aux boxes here. And the one aux, it's 1 aux per amp. And basically that's a cabinet simulator. So it's safe for the amplifier, and it allows me to turn the amp up and play it like it should sound, like it's on 7. Because it is on 7. Really is, no lie. Now I'm hitting it also with the Source Audio ZO pedal to even hit the front end a little bit more. So let's hear that. And that's how we get that Gary Moore stuff, right? So that's what we got. I'll turn the ZO off for now, and we'll work on just playing the lick, okay? So what we want to do is I'm going to pull the tab up on my end, and you guys will have it too. And we're playing a blues in C, C7, F9, F7, G9, G7 are our chords. And what you saw me do was play it, the lick over and over through the first 12 bars. And then the second 12 bars, I went and improvised a little bit and then put the lick at the turnaround, which is what you have. You have the whole turnaround lick tabbed out for you. And what I'd like to do is, since this is all 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, it's all these eighth note triplets, bop, 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 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. We're gonna break them off into little tiny pieces. That's just one measure of it right there, okay? So we're gonna think A minor pentatonic, all in that area, right? But we're also going to think about adding in this note right here, which is the 9, and you can get that from a C major pentatonic. And of course you have a C minor pentatonic. So those are our two best options to kind of think about when you're playing this stuff. So we're gonna start it right here on the first string, 8th fret, and I would probably do a pull off there. So 8, first string, 11, pull off to the 8. And this is how you start to build your technique and your strength and speed. We're gonna take a lick like this really slowly. That's a lick. Notice how I'm alternate picking. And that's the first 3 notes. C, B flat, A, G. So now we're gonna go to the second part, which is just, and if you've been playing some blues, you've probably heard that before, where you're bending on the 10th fret, 3rd string, and you're bending to the G note on the 3rd string, 12th fret, but you never really get there because you're going, and as you're starting to get there, you release, and as you release, that first finger catches the G on the 2nd string, 8th fret, and when you do it right, that 3rd string will fall into that finger there. So I push up on the 3rd, release, and that 3rd string goes into the finger, it mutes it, and then I play the G note on the 2nd string, 8th fret. But I have to finish that and grab the C up top. So just those 2 pieces now. First half of bar 1. So that's the second part now. So once we have the first part, now we're going to do is a bend on the 11th fret, 2nd string. That's our next 3 notes. So we're bending as if we want to get a whole step, but we're never going to get there in time. So I do almost a quarter step bend. And you're going to bend, release, just like you did on the 3rd and 2nd strings, but now we're going to play that C on the 1st. And what we do is when we get to that, we have to toggle our finger down to the G on the 2nd string, 8th fret. So far, we got 3 pieces, 3 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. Here comes the 4th. And that's all happening on the 1st string. Ooh, got a little wild there. And that's just 11, 8, 10, 8. So that first measure, and we should probably do pull-offs right there. I don't have that written in the tab. I'll make sure I change that. 11, 8, 10, 8. Sometimes it's hard to play it slow. But that's what it sounds like fast. That's your first measure of it, right? So we got Now when we, the 8th fret actually goes into the next measure. That's your next 3 notes, 8, 11, 8, which is C, B flat, C. And that's gonna take us home. So from the beginning, the next 3 notes, 11, 8, 10, B flat, G, F bends to G. Now once we bend, back to our old friend that goes, it's gonna be 10, 8, 8, you're bending on that 10th fret. Then we walk down, 11, 8, 10, 8, 10. Now we only got 2 measures left and they're a little bit easier, so let's review. Let me play that a bunch of times slowly for you. Even slower. Now, once we go to the 4th measure, pretty common move here, all toggling off this C on the 4th string. And you hear it getting kind of furry there on the low end. So start on the 4th string, 10th fret, 2 C's in a row. Then you have to do this grace note slide, which is really common because it's really targeting the major 3rd of that C7 chord. So bar the 8th fret, 2nd and 3rd strings. And what you do is you play both strings, 2nd and 3rd, and then back to the C, double stop both on the 10th fret, 2nd and 3rd strings. Back to this guy, C on the 10th fret, 4th string. Then what I do is, since I have that 2nd finger free, I reach over and I grab that G note on the 5th string, 10th fret. Now, what you'll also notice in the teaching, I'll bend with my 3rd finger. But we're gonna go in sort of Jimmy Page fashion here, and we're gonna go. So let's go back to the beginning. We wanna exhaust all these possibilities. And I want you to try bending with your 2nd finger there. Now, this might go against things you've heard or seen, but this is the way a lot of our great blues rock players played this fast up. Because they needed that 3rd finger to do stuff like that and to be available for that 4 fret jump. So you'll notice even when I go here, I'm going 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 1st on the fingerings. That's how it's written. All right, so let's take the track, and I want to show you some ways to play around with this. Let's go back to my program here. There we go. So we're going to take it to the beginning. We're going to slow the speed down a good bit. Let's go about 75%. Let's go 80. That's still pretty fast. Let's take it even slower. works over all the chords, especially here. So what I did there, just kind of anticipating the chord changes coming up. But let's take it even further. And let's say I can only play, Corey, the first two parts. Okay, let's just take that. Here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the first two parts. Let's try to add some more, maybe something. So this is the way that we can kind of infuse some more Gary Moore into our playing. Now, let's say we get a little bit better and we're faster with that. So now we're 65% slower. That's pretty significant. So we're going to go back to full speed, see if we can't do it. Let's try it. Just a piece of it. 2, 3, 4. So maybe the whole thing was just you going, and you got that much. That's okay, because you can start to work it in piece by piece, you know, and then we'll start to use it. Maybe you learn the whole lick and you want to do it right on that turnaround. So maybe we're playing, you know, just some basic stuff. Turn the pedal on. Right? See what I'm saying? That's how you start to add some of this stuff in, little by little, measure by measure, okay? So one more time, let's go back to the tab. I'll play along with you here. I'll look at my tab. Okay? That's the whole deal. Gary Moore was a beast. There's tons more where that comes from. So I encourage you to check out as much of his blues playing as possible, because it's pretty life-changing if you haven't heard it. So I had a blast. Special thanks to my new friends over in the Facebook group, Guitar Licks and Tricks, as well as to all my loyal folks that have been subscribing over the weeks. This was something fun. We haven't done a lick lesson in a long time, and we haven't cranked the Marshall up either. So high time we did that. Don't forget, please subscribe to the channel if you've been here this long, or if you were here for 5 minutes. Either way, there's lots of good stuff always coming your way through my channel. Gear demos, lessons, and lots of other good stuff. It's going to be a good year here in 2022, I guarantee it. And don't forget to download the tab and download the track. And you're going to use your email for that. If you got a pop-up blocker, turn that off just for a moment. Get the goods. Go back to your normal, your normal internet security. All right, I'm Corey. Been a blast. Thanks so much for hanging with me. See you on the next lesson.